You can take the data that you've collected in a Google Sheet and quickly go ahead and create charts with that data. Now there's a couple different ways to do it, and there's a lot of different charts and a lot of different variables involved in making it look just the way you want, but here's a quick peek at how you can get started. When you've got a lot of data in any kind of spreadsheet here, the quickest way to decide, I want to make a chart out of, say, the data that I find right here in this particular column, you're going to highlight that column. So I'll use this one because it does have a text header at the top, and this is all just dummy data I was messing around with. I'm going to click on column G so that I select all of the data in that particular column. Or maybe to keep this even simpler for our example, I'm just going to click and drag down and just get this first batch of numbers here. And I've basically got two quick ways that I can go about this. I do have something in the bottom corner here called the Explore button, this little green button. I can click on that. It's going to pop up a little side panel here that allows me to scroll down, do a bunch of different formatting things, but it also will offer to immediately create a chart for me. So it's taken what I highlighted there and immediately gone ahead and spit out a little bar chart for me. I can scroll down, see if there's anything else, and yep, it's created a little line graph for me as well. Now if I like that, I can certainly click on it, and there's a little button right here that says Insert Chart. So I can click on that, and it's going to pop that right onto my spreadsheet here. I'll just resize that so you can see it. Get rid of that side panel. There we go. And this way, you can see I've got that chart sitting right there. And as soon as I want to start making adjustments and messing around with it, I'm going to go ahead and click the three little dots up in the corner there, and I can come and edit that chart. And now when I edit, I get a whole side panel here. Now the basic setup is going to allow me to switch between different types of charts. So if there's something else that's more appropriate for what I'm trying to do, I can certainly change it up. I can decide if there's stacking within this particular chart. And some of these options will of course change depending on what type of chart you've selected. And then as I scroll down just on this basic setup side, I can decide what is going to define my x-axis. I can set up more series of data if I want to add other numbers in there. I can click on Add Series, and then I'll just say grab a bunch of data right here maybe. Come back to Edit for a moment. There we go. I need to click this first. Click that so I can select a range. Now I can come over here and go ahead and just select. And it's going to fill that information in there for me. And I say, okay. And now I've got another set of data sitting there. So you can come down and add as many different series as you need to. If you hadn't selected them all right at the beginning, I can switch the rows and columns. It already realized that, hey, that first row's got a text value in it, so I'm going to use that as a label. But if that hadn't been figured out automatically, then you can certainly click that. If instead I had a row of names maybe over at the side, I could have used a option here to go ahead and make column B my actual labels for that particular set of data if I wanted to. Or I can come up to the customize option. It's always worth exploring what you can change in here when you decide, hey, I need my X and Y axis to look a little different. Well, I can come down to the horizontal axis or the vertical axis, and when I click on either of those, it's going to open up and give me some different options for how the text is going to look and how it's going to slant possibly. Click on that one and decide what the minimum and maximum values are going to be. So if I know I've got data flowing into this chart and it's changing, I can preset what my maximum value is going to be or my minimum so that the scale isn't constantly changing on me. And I can continue down and make other changes and such as well. Grid lines are something I can adjust. All the different titles, so the chart title, the axis titles, I can label the data if I wanted to. I can also adjust my legend if I want to change its position. I have options there as well to move that legend around. Maybe I'll put it over on the right. So lots and lots and lots of options in here for customizing how this chart is actually going to look. And once that's all done, again, I can click these three little buttons, and I've got the option to maybe download that as a picture if I needed to. I can publish that chart out, or I can just say, you know what, this needs its own sheet so that it can take up a little bit more space if I'm going to present it maybe to people. So I can say move to own sheet, and instead of floating on top of my data, that now has got its own little chart one sheet down at the bottom here, and I can see it much more clearly if I was going to talk about this in a presentation or something, or I just needed it on screen to look at a little bit better. It's all based on that same data back here, so if any of these numbers were to start changing, then my chart is going to change and reflect those changes. So there's a whole variety of things that you can do with these charts. And the other option is, if I did have a chart like this created, I can actually go up to a Google document, click Insert, and go to Chart and choose Sheets, and I'll be able to bring charts like this that I've already created in a Google Sheet right back into my Google document. So if I was writing something that relied on that chart as part of its visual information, then absolutely I can bring that chart right into my report, and I don't have to recreate it in any way. I'd be able to bring it right into a slides presentation too, if that's what we were doing.